A ruthless gangster buys a mysterious woman at a black market deal, but when she reveals her name, their dangerous bond sparks a shocking twist that changes everything. The room was dimly lit, a long table stretched across the middle. Men in sharp suits sat in silence, their eyes fixed on the entrance. It smelled like money and danger. At the end of the table, a man in a black suit leaned back in his chair. His name was Victor Rossi, and he owned this place. He ran the city. Everyone knew it. Victor swirled a glass of whiskey in his hand. "Let's get this over with," he said, his voice low and steady. The men nodded, their faces serious. Business was about to happen. They were waiting for the woman. She was late. Suddenly the door swung open. A guard pushed a woman inside. She wore a grey sack over her head. No one could see her face. She looked small and scared. Victor raised an eyebrow. "What's this?" he asked, his interest piqued. The guard shrugged. "She's from the deal, boss." "Just as we agreed." Victor leaned forward. "Take the sack off." The guard hesitated but obeyed. The woman's dark hair spilled out, framing her face. She looked defiant despite the situation. "I'm not afraid of you," she said, her voice trembling but strong. Victor smirked. "You should be, but that's good. I like a fighter." The tension in the room shifted. Victor stood up, walking towards her slowly. "What's your name?" he asked, looking deep into her eyes. She hesitated, taking a breath. "Mara!" It hung in the air, heavy yet light. The men exchanged glances, shocked. Victor's lips curled into a smile. "Mara, I like it." He reached out, brushing a finger against her chin. "You're not what I expected, but I like surprises." The guard cleared his throat. "Boss, we should get back to the business." But Victor waved him off. "No, this is the business now." He turned to Mara, his gaze intense. "You're not just a deal anymore." Mara's heart raced. She could sense the power in the room. It was intoxicating and terrifying. "What do you want from me?" she asked, her voice steady. Victor took a step closer. "For now, to see what you're made of." His eyes sparkled with something, curiosity, challenge, maybe even a flicker of respect. She felt a shift inside her. Something was changing. But this was only the start. Victor leaned back, assessing Mara. The men around the table watched in silence. It was a strange moment. "Let's make a deal," he said, breaking the tension. "If you win, you walk away free. If you lose—" He paused, letting the weight of his words settle. "You belong to me." Mara's heart raced. "And if I refuse?" Her voice was defiant, but Victor's gaze was steady. "You have no choice. This isn't a game, it's your chance." His smile faded. "I will not have a weak partner. Win, and you can leave. Lose, well, we both know what that means." Mara swallowed hard. The stakes were high, but she hated being backed into a corner. "What's the game?" she asked, trying to sound calm. Victor leaned closer. "A bet, simple, a fight." He gestured to the men. "I'll set it up in the ring, you against one of my best." "Best? That doesn't sound fair," Mara shot back. "You want me to win with one hand tied behind my back?" Victor chuckled. "That's the point, isn't it? You have to prove you're worth more than a sack over your head." The eyes in the room flickered with anticipation. "Why do you care?" she pressed. "You could have anyone." Victor straightened. "True, but I see something in you. Maybe it's the fire. Maybe it's the challenge. Either way, I want you in my corner." Mara narrowed her eyes, searching his face. She couldn't tell if he was being sincere or playing a game. Victor walked back to the head of the table. "So, what's it going to be? Fight or fade away?" The room was electric with tension. Mara felt the weight of their eyes, the pressure of choice. She glanced at Victor, then stared at her hands. For a moment she hesitated, but there was fire in her heart. "I'll fight," she said, her voice stronger now. Victor's smile returned, sharper this time. "Good choice, Mara. Let's see what you're really made of." He thought he was in control. He wasn't. The ring was a simple setup, a large space with ropes around it. Bright lights shone down, making the tension thick. Mara stood on one side, fists clenched. Victor leaned against the ropes, arms crossed, a smirk on his face. "You ready?" he called out. "Ready for what? You think I'm scared?" Mara shot back. Her eyes burned with determination. Victor raised an eyebrow. "Not scared, huh? Let's see if that holds up." He turned to the men in suits. "Release the fighter." The door swung open. A massive man stepped inside. He wore a fierce grin. Mara's heart dropped. This was Victor's best. She felt a rush of fear, but pushed it aside. "I can take him," she muttered to herself. Victor chuckled, knowing her inner battle. "Let's find out." When the bell rang, the man charged at her. Mara dodged to the side, her instincts kicking in. She landed a quick jab to his ribs. "Nice move," Victor called out, his voice dripping with mockery. "But you'll need more than that." The fighter swung back, but Mara ducked just in time. She could hear Victor's laughter echoing in her ears. "Keep your guard up." Mara grit her teeth. She wouldn't give him the satisfaction. She kept moving, weaving in and out. Her heart pounded, not just from adrenaline, but from the challenge. "You're fast, but can you hit hard?" Victor taunted, pushing her limits. She narrowed her eyes, channeling her anger. "I'm not here to entertain you, Rossi." With renewed energy, Mara charged forward again. She landed a solid punch to his jaw. The fighter staggered back. For a moment, she saw surprise in Victor's eyes. "There you go, Mara. You've got fire," he yelled. But the smile on his face was mixed with something else. Dominance. Mara hated it, but it also intrigued her. She would not back down. As the fight continued, she could feel Victor watching her closely, the way he leaned in, the intensity in his gaze. But she shook it off. "This isn't about you," she said, breathless but fierce. Victor stepped closer to the ropes, the smirk returning. "Oh, but it is. You're proving more than just skill. You're proving you belong here." Mara's resolve hardened. She wouldn't let him win. Their clashes weren't just about fighting, they were about respect. And somewhere deep down, she felt something else stirring. She took a breath, stepping back into her stance. Victor met her gaze, a challenge shimmering in the air between them. This wasn't just a fight anymore. It was a dance of wills. And Mara was ready for whatever came next. One move would change everything. Mara wiped sweat from her brow, her chest heaving. Victor watched, arms crossed, a grin on his face. The fight had been tough, but she was still standing. "You've got guts, I'll give you that," he said, pushing off the ropes to approach her, "but we need to set some ground rules." She glared at him, breathing heavily. "What kind of rules?" Her fists were still clenched. Victor leaned in, lowering his voice. "You fight for me, not against me. Win your fights and I'll keep you safe. Lose, and you know what happens." His eyes flickered with warning. "You become mine. No exceptions." Mara swallowed hard. "What if I want to leave? You can't hold me here." Victor laughed lightly, but it wasn't kind. "This is a dangerous game, Mara. You think you can just walk away? A life like this has consequences. You cross me and you'll regret it." His smile faded. "There are lines you don't want to cross." "Like what?" She shot back, refusing to back down. Victor stepped closer, invading her space. "If you refuse a fight, there will be consequences. If you lose on purpose, you'd better think twice." He raised an eyebrow, letting the threat linger. "And if you try to escape," he let the words hang. Mara's heart raced, she understood. This was serious. "Fine," she said, her voice steady. "So I fight, but I want my own rules. You won't use me as bait. I won't be a pawn in your games." Victor's expression shifted, a hard glint in his eyes. "I like your fire, but if you break my rules, it won't just be you who suffers." He paused, letting his words sink in. "You understand?" Mara nodded, feeling the weight of his promise. "I won't back down, Victor." He grinned, a mix of admiration and challenge. "Good. I wouldn't want it any other way." The air thickened with tension. She realized she had crossed a line herself, stepping into his world. But there was no turning back now. "Just remember this, Victor," she said, meeting his gaze. "If you think you can control me, you're mistaken. They both knew the stakes were high, but Mara felt a surge of power. This was just the beginning. He thought he was in control. He wasn't. Victor leaned back in his chair, examining Mara with a mix of interest and intensity. The fight was over, but the game had only just begun. "You did well in the ring," he said, his voice smooth. "But this isn't just about strength. It's about strategy." Mara raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" He leaned forward, a glint in his eyes. "I need to know how you handle pressure, especially in public. There will be events where you must stand beside me. Can you handle that?" Mara crossed her arms, defiance in her posture. "I'm not some trophy to show off." He kept his voice low, careful with each word. "Say it straight," he said. "No games." A small silence cut the tension. Victor chuckled, leaning back again. "Not a trophy. More like a partner, but let's see if you're ready for that." He stood, gesturing for her to follow. "Let's take a walk." She followed him, her heart racing. The tension hung thick in the air. She answered fast, then fell quiet. "I'm not afraid," she replied. "Not tonight." He chose the next words with care. They stepped into a crowded room filled with Victor's associates, laughter and clinking glasses echoing around them. Victor walked confidently, and Mara stayed close, feeling the eyes on her. "Feel that?" he asked, glancing at her. "They're watching. They want to see how strong you really are." He moved first, not giving anyone time to think. He checked the room and kept his back to the wall. She shook her head and took a step closer. Mara swallowed hard, but her resolve only strengthened. "I won't let them see weakness." Victor smiled, but stayed serious. "Good, but it's not just about being tough. You have to charm them too. Smile, engage, be the woman they'll talk about." He leaned closer, his voice low. "Can you do that?" She stood her ground, eyes steady. She watched his hands, not his smile. They held eye contact. Neither blinked. "I'll show them," she replied, her voice steady. As they moved through the crowd, Victor's presence was magnetic, but she could feel the pressure rising. He was testing her. She would not buckle. She met his gaze, a spark of competition lighting between them. This game was just beginning, and she wasn't about to back down. One move would change everything. The gala was loud. Laughter echoed off the walls, and the clink of glasses rang in the air. Victor led Mara through the crowd, a confident smile plastered on his face. Mara felt the weight of the room's gaze on her. She stayed close, her heart racing. "Remember," he said softly, "keep your head high. They'll try to test you." Mara nodded, her posture straightening. "I won't give them anything." Victor chuckled, but his eyes remained serious. "Good. Show them you're not just a fighter, you're more than that." He turned to face her, eyes sharp. "Engage with them." She took a deep breath. They moved deeper into the crowd. At a long table, men in sharp suits swapped stories. Victor waved to a few, greeting them as if he owned the place. Mara stayed by his side, feeling the pulse of the room. She shifted, trying to catch their attention. One man leaned forward, looking her up and down. "Who's the new girl?" he asked with a smirk. Victor stepped in, a protective edge in his voice. "She's my partner. Respect her." The man shrugged, but Mara could see the curiosity in the other's eyes. Victor took her hand and led her to the center of the room. "Time to show them what you've got," he said, raising a glass. "Tonight, we're not just here to eat. We're here to win." Everyone turned to watch, intrigued. Mara felt the pressure build. "What do you want me to do?" she asked, uncertainty creeping in. Victor leaned closer, his breath warm against her ear. "Join me in the auction. Let them see you can take charge." She raised an eyebrow, nerves bubbling. "You want me to bid on something?" He nodded, his smile encouraging. "Just trust me. You've got this." As the gavel sounded, her heart raced. She looked around, taking in the faces staring back at her. When the first item went up, a vintage watch, Victor prompted her with a nod. "Go ahead." Mara took a deep breath. She raised her hand. "I'll start at 2,000. The room grew silent. Victor's smile widened, eyes sparkling with pride. That's my girl." The unexpected gesture sent a wave of murmurs through the crowd. Mara felt empowered. They weren't just watching her, they were seeing her. But she knew this was only the beginning. Would she really belong? Mara stood by Victor, the buzz of the gala still ringing in her ears. She just placed a bold bid on the watch, but now uncertainty crept in. Victor watched her with pride, but she felt a knot in her stomach. She hadn't been this exposed in a long time. The laughter and chatter around her faded as memories flooded back. "Are you okay?" Victor leaned in closer, concern knitting his brow. "You went quiet." She forced a smile. "Yeah, just thinking." He frowned, unconvinced. The truth was she was remembering her past, a dark place she tried to keep buried. Losing her sister had changed her. She couldn't shake the guilt. She began, then paused. "I miss her." Victor's expression softened. "Your sister?" She nodded, swallowing hard. "We were close. She was my best friend. I thought she'd always be there." The pain in her chest tightened. Then one night she didn't come home. I waited, but her voice trailed off. Victor didn't say anything, just let her words hang in the air. I found out later she got into trouble. Some guys from the wrong side of town. She took a breath, forcing back tears. I couldn't save her. I should have done something. Victor stepped closer, his eyes steady. "That's not your fault, Mara. You can't control everything." She looked up at him. "But I should have tried harder." He placed a hand on her shoulder. "You did what you could. You're here now, fighting your battles. She'd be proud of you." His voice was firm but soft. Mara felt a warmth spread through her. She smiled a little, remembering her sister's laughter. "She would have laughed every time I got into a fight." As the crowd buzzed on, Mara took a deep breath. "I don't want to feel weak like that again." Victor nodded. "You're strong, Mara, but showing vulnerability doesn't make you weak. It makes you human." She searched his eyes, looking for judgment, but found none, just understanding. "Thanks, Victor," she said quietly. He smiled, a hint of mischief returning. "Now, let's get back to owning this room." She chuckled, feeling lighter. But as they turned back to the crowd, she wondered if she could really allow herself to be vulnerable again. Would it help her fight harder, or would it just expose her? She took his hand, ready to face what came next. She was about to cross a line. The gala continued, the energy buzzing. Victor and Mara moved through the crowd, catching the eyes of onlookers. She felt alive, but the pressure was still there. Victor squeezed her hand. "You're handling this well," he said quietly. She smiled, the confidence rising. But then a voice cut through the laughter. "Hey, new girl, you think you can hang with us?" A tall man leaned in. His friends snickered, the tension thickening. Mara stiffened, feeling the challenge. "Excuse me?" Victor stepped forward, his voice low. "Back off. She's not interested." The man laughed, brushing it off. "Just having some fun. No need to be touchy." Mara met the man's gaze, holding her ground. "I can take care of myself." Victor raised an eyebrow, surprised at her boldness. The man smirked, leaning closer. "Yeah? Prove it." Victor's protective energy shifted. "How about you back off while you're still breathing?" His tone was sharp. The laughter around them faded. Mara sensed the rising tension. She placed a hand on Victor's arm. "Just let it go." But Victor didn't seem willing to back down. "No one disrespects you here." She felt the heat in his voice. It was intense, but she admired his loyalty. "Victor," she said softly, "please." Suddenly the tall man shoved Victor hard. "What are you going to do about it?" Victor's jaw tightened. He stepped closer, fists clenched. But before things escalated, Mara stepped between them. "Enough!" she shouted. Everyone paused, surprised at her outburst. "This isn't a place for this. Let's just enjoy the night." Victor looked at her, confusion flashing in his eyes. The man stepped back, clearly caught off guard. "Whatever," he muttered, turning away. Mara felt the tension leave the room. The crowd resumed their chatter, but she was still shaking. Victor turned to her, concern written across his face. "Are you okay?" Mara nodded, taking a deep breath. I am now. She looked up, feeling a sense of respect from him. You stood up for yourself. I like that, he said, a hint of admiration in his tone. She smiled, feeling a bond deepen between them. They were partners now, in more ways than one. But as the night wore on, Mara sensed a darker presence lurking in the background. Would it come back to haunt them? Mara and Victor returned to the quieter part of the gala, the energy around them starting to settle. She felt the thrill of the night, but needed to catch her breath. I didn't mean to get in the way back there, Mara said, glancing at Victor. I just wanted to diffuse it. He looked at her, a slight smile on his lips. You did good. You know how to handle yourself. They found a small balcony away from the crowd. The night air was cool, a welcome change from the heat inside. Victor leaned against the railing, arms crossed. What's your story, Mara? You've got fire in you. She hesitated, unsure how much to share. Not much to tell. Just a fighter trying to find her way. His gaze locked onto hers. That's not all. I can see it. There's more. She took a deep breath. I've had to fight for everything. My sister, my life. It shapes you, you know? Victor nodded, his expression softening. I get that. I've lost people too. It changes you. Mara noticed the vulnerability in his voice. What happened? She asked, intrigued. He paused, looking out at the city lights. An old friend got caught up in something bad. It still haunts me. She felt a connection spark between them. We both have our ghosts, she said quietly. Yeah, he replied, turning to face her. But we're here now, right? We still have a chance. They stood closer now, the air thick with unspoken feelings. Mara's heart raced at the intensity in his eyes. I'm glad you found me, Victor, she admitted. I never expected this. A moment of silence hung between them, charged with something deeper. Victor leaned in slightly, their faces close. Me too. I see something in you, Mara. She held her breath, caught in the moment. Just as she felt the urge to close the gap, a loud laugh echoed from inside, breaking the spell. They stepped back, both a little breathless, but the spark lingered between them, hinting at what could come next. Someone was listening in the dark. Victor and Mara stepped back inside, the gala still buzzing around them, but the tension remained. As they walked through the crowd, Mara felt a nagging sense that someone was watching them. Did you see that guy earlier? She asked, glancing around. Victor frowned. Yeah, I noticed. He was trouble. Just then, a waiter brushed past them, almost knocking a tray off balance. Mara caught a glimpse of something slipping from his pocket. What was that? She whispered to Victor. He turned just in time to see the waiter drop a small envelope onto the floor. Let's check it out. He kept his voice low, careful with each word. Say it straight, he said. No games. A small silence cut the tension. They bent down, both reaching for the envelope. It's sealed, Victor noted, examining it. Should we open it? Mara hesitated. What if it's something bad? He shrugged. We won't know unless we look. Victor tore the envelope open, and they both peered inside. She answered fast, then fell quiet. I'm not afraid, she replied. Not tonight. He chose the next words with care. What does it say? Mara asked, her heart racing. Victor's brows furrowed as he read the note aloud. Tonight's auction. Certain items are set to lose value. Make your move or lose. He looked at her, confusion mixing with concern. This doesn't sound good. He moved first, not giving anyone time to think. He checked the room and kept his back to the wall. She shook her head and took a step closer. Mara's stomach dropped. Who sent it? What does it mean? Victor scanned the room, catching sight of the tall man from earlier. He's with a group that's been stirring trouble. They want to undermine the auction. Victor crumpled the note in his hand. We have to warn everyone. She stood her ground, eyes steady. She watched his hands, not his smile. They held eye contact. Neither blinked. But just as they turned to leave, Mara noticed a woman staring at them across the crowd. It was a familiar face, a woman from Mara's past. Panic surged. We need to go now, she whispered urgently. Victor noticed her fear. What's wrong? But before she could explain, the woman made eye contact and smiled. It felt like a trap closing in. "We're not safe here," Mara breathed, searching for an exit. But this was only the start. Mara felt the weight of the woman's gaze. It sent a chill down her spine. "Victor, we need to leave. Now," she urged, her heart racing. He frowned, glancing back at the woman. "Who is she?" he asked. "Someone from my past. Someone bad," Mara replied, glancing around for exits. Victor grabbed her arm gently. "You're not alone in this. We'll figure it out." But the crowd had shifted. Laughter faded, and whispers filled the air. The tall man from earlier leaned closer to his group, eyeing them. "This isn't good," Victor muttered. He pulled Mara deeper into the crowd, but the tension hung heavily between them. "I don't want to drag you into my mess," Mara said, her voice tight. "You already did," he shot back, his frustration bubbling. They finally found a quiet corner away from prying eyes. "What's going on?" Victor demanded, arms crossed. "I can't tell you everything, but she's not safe," Mara said, feeling the tension claw at her. "You need to trust me." He shook his head, disbelief written across his face. "You're shutting me out. I can't help you if you won't let me in." The hurt in his voice struck her deep. Mara looked away, feeling the distance grow. "I'm trying to protect you. This isn't just about us anymore." Victor ran a hand through his hair. "I get that, but you can't keep pushing me away. It's not fair." Silence stretched between them, heavy and painful. She wanted to reach out, but the fear held her back. "Maybe I should just go," she said, barely above a whisper. Victor's eyes widened. "You're serious?" The hurt in his voice cut through her. "I don't want to watch you get hurt because of me," she replied, tears brimming. "This isn't just a threat, it's bigger." His expression softened. "Mara, running away won't solve anything." With a shaky breath, Mara turned to leave. "I need some space." "Don't do this," he called after her, desperation in his tone, but she couldn't look back. As she stepped away, she felt their connection fraying, her heart heavy with regret. The silence screamed louder than any words. Would they find their way back to each other? Or was this it? Mara stepped outside to catch her breath. The cool night air helped clear her mind. The gala felt like a cage now. Behind her, Victor leaned against the wall, frustration etched across his face. "Mara, wait!" he shouted. She paused but didn't turn around. "I need space, Victor," she said, her voice trembling. He pushed off the wall and closed the distance. "Running away isn't the answer," he insisted. "You're important to me. We can face this together." She shook her head. "You don't understand. I can't let you get hurt." Victor took a deep breath. "You're not protecting me by shutting me out. Let me in." She finally turned to face him, eyes filled with tears. "You don't know what I've done to survive. I can't drag you into that." Victor stepped closer, determination in his voice. "Then let me help you fix it. Whatever it costs, I'll pay." The sincerity in his words hit her hard. "It's not about money or power," she replied softly. "It's about trust." "I'll sacrifice anything," he said, eyes locked onto hers. "Just tell me what to do." Mara felt a flicker of hope. "You don't know what you're asking for," she warned. "If you really want to help, you have to let go of your pride. This isn't just about us, it's bigger." Victor nodded, understanding the weight of her words. "I'm willing to take that risk." "Okay," she whispered, a mix of relief and fear. "First, I need you to drop the image. No show of power, just be yourself." He took a step back, digesting her request. "I can do that. No more games. I'll give up whatever it takes." Mara felt the tension ease slightly. "And I need you to trust me when I say we might not be safe." "I trust you," he said firmly. "Let's make a plan. I'll help you confront your past." She nodded, feeling the connection spark once more. "But it won't be easy," she warned. "There will be sacrifices." Victor smiled, determination in his eyes. "I'm ready. Together we can take them down." Just as they turned to walk back inside, a shadow moved in the corner of her vision, reminding her that trouble was always lurking. He thought he was in control. He wasn't. Mara and Victor stepped back inside, their hearts racing. The tension was thick, but they had a plan. "We need to confront her," Victor said, his voice steady. "We can't let your past control us." Mara nodded, but doubt flickered in her eyes. "What if she tries to hurt you?" "I'm not afraid," Victor replied, determination in every word. "We can face this together." Mara hesitated, feeling the weight of her fears. "It's harder than you think. She knows my weaknesses." Victor stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Then we'll turn your weaknesses into strengths. You've got me, Mara. No more secrets." "All right," she said, feeling the spark of trust growing. "But if she tries anything, we have to be ready. I don't want to put you in danger." Victor grinned. "I'm ready for anything. You won't be alone." There was a strength in his gaze that drew her in. Mara took a deep breath. "Let's do this then." They moved through the crowd, searching for the woman. Mara spotted her near the bar, talking to an older man. "There she is," Mara whispered. Victor nodded, his eyes narrowing. "Stay close." They approached, and the woman turned, her smile vanishing. "Mara," she said, feigning warmth, "didn't expect to see you here." "Cut the act," Mara replied, her voice firm. "What do you want?" The woman raised an eyebrow, surprised. "Just checking in on an old friend. Heard you've gotten involved with some dangerous people." Victor stepped forward. "She's not alone. We're done with your games." The tension crackled like static. The woman smirked, crossing her arms. "You think you can protect her? You don't know what you're up against." Mara felt anger surge. "You don't scare me anymore. I'm done running." The woman tilted her head, intrigued. "Is that so? You think love can conquer all?" Mara exchanged a glance with Victor. "Love is built on freedom and equality. We're stronger together." The woman laughed, a cold sound. "We'll see about that." The challenge hung in the air. Mara's heart raced as she faced her past. She felt Victor's hand on her back, steadying her. "Whatever happens, we stand together." Mara nodded, knowing the choice ahead was theirs to make. Would they fight for their love, or let the past consume them? Mara stood outside the gala, her heart racing. The confrontation had gone better than she expected, but it didn't feel over. Victor was right beside her, his presence comforting. "You okay?" he asked, his eyes searching hers. She nodded, but doubt clung to her. "It felt too easy." He shrugged. "Maybe she's not as powerful as she thinks." "No, or maybe she's just playing a long game," Mara replied, her voice low. "We can't let our guard down." Victor placed a hand on her shoulder. "We'll stay alert. Together." She felt a flicker of hope. "Together," she echoed, knowing they had stepped into a new phase of their journey. "Let's go." He kept his voice low, careful with each word. "Say it straight," he said. "No games." A small silence cut the tension. As they walked away from the gala, the air felt lighter. "I never expected to confront her like that," she admitted. Victor smiled. "You held your ground. I'm proud of you." She flushed. "I couldn't have done it without you." He paused, sincerity in his voice. "You're stronger than you know, Mara. Just remember that." She answered fast, then fell quiet. "I'm not afraid," she replied. "Not tonight." He chose the next words with care. They found a small cafe nearby and settled at a corner table. The warmth of the place wrapped around them. "What's next?" Victor asked, leaning forward. "We can't move back. We have to build something new." Mara took a deep breath, feeling the weight of possibilities. "Let's start fresh. No more hiding. Just us." He moved first, not giving anyone time to think. He checked the room and kept his back to the wall. "Sounds good," Victor said, his eyes bright with excitement. "Maybe we can open our own place. Something safe." Mara smiled at the idea. "I like that. A space where we control our story." He laughed softly. "No more auctions or dark deals." She stood her ground, eyes steady. She watched his hands, not his smile. As they shared dreams and laughter, Mara felt the past loosening its grip. She was ready to embrace the future. "So, how do we begin?" she asked, leaning into the moment. Victor grinned, mischief dancing in his eyes. "We plan for a better life, and maybe get a little revenge along the way." Mara laughed, knowing this was just the start. But a thought lingered. Would their past truly let them go?